Hi! Within this lecture, we're going to learn about statements and operators. In fact, it's time to learn about if controls. That is to say, we can actually determine what will happen if some condition holds in our code. But before we learn that, we have to understand some basic operations like greater than, less than, equal to, if not equal to, some operations like this. So within this lecture, we're going to learn about those. And following the next lecture, we're going to deep dive into the if statements and then loops. So if you don't know what those terms are, it's perfectly okay. You're about to learn it. So I believe it's time to create a new Java class for us. So if you're doing this with an activity because of the errors that we have observed in the previous lectures, then you should create a new project. But I'm going to add a new Java class from here, and I'm gonna call this statements. Okay, so this is basically what we're going to do. We're going to add our new main method over here, because remember, this is our entry point and this should be in every Java code that we are trying to run over here. So maybe you may want to pause the video and try to write it on your own. See if you remember. So it is public static void main, and it takes some parameters called string array, and we name that string array arguments and open curly braces. Here we go. Now I believe it's good to start with some mathematical concepts like adding or subtracting. So in order to do that, I'm gonna create a new integer and we will work on that. So I'm gonna call this x, and x will be 5. So what if I want to add something to this x? Let me print this out so that we can see it, its current value over here. Let me run this so we can get rid of this old logcat over here. Yep, this is 5. So let me add something to this x, like let me add 1. So we can do it this way, right? X is x plus 1. So if I print out the x right now, I will get 6. First I get 5, then I get 6 because I added 1. So that's basic, right? But there is another annotation for this. So if you come over here, you can just say x plus plus. And this will do the same thing basically. So I don't really actually use this a lot, but if you see something like this, x plus plus, then just know that it's adding 1 like this. As you can see, x is now 7. So it's basically the same thing by saying that, x is x plus 1. In fact, we can do the same thing for subtraction as well. So you can say x minus minus, so it will just subtract 1 out of x. So if I run this, we will get 6 at the end of the logcat like this. So here you go. Now you see how to add 1 and subtract 1. So let me do something like this. X is x multiplied by 5. Do we get the result? Yep, we get the result. So it multiplied 6 by 5 and the current value of x is 30. So these are some basic operands of mathematics in Java. And most of the time we get more than one value, right? For example, we can have this y equal to 4. Now I have an x and I have a y. So I can compare them if I want, right? For example, I can just say x is greater than, so this is greater than sign, as you might already know, y. So what if I say that? What will happen? What is x right now? X is 30 at this point, right? So it's definitely greater than y, and we get a boolean out of that. Remember booleans? Now we get a boolean. So we can do the same thing with this, and we will get a boolean again. but this time it will be false. And this is kind of basis of the if controls that we're going to see in the next lecture. As you can see, when we compare things, we get booleans. For example, let me change y to 30. Okay, the current value of the x is 30 as well. So if I do this, x is greater than y, then we will get false. Now, if I do something like greater than or equal to, like this, so x is greater than or equal to y. So greater than sign and equal sign. Now, if I run this, I will get true, because now they're both 30. So that's good. So how do we compare if they're actually equal or not? So we do this, x equal to y, but with a double equal sign. So if we make one equal sign, it means that just make the current value of x equal to y. But if we do it like this, equal, it means that if they're equal or not. And as you can see in this case, they're actually equal to each other, so we get true out of this. So that's cool. So how do we define if they're not equal? So we do it like this. Exclamation point, it means negative, okay? Exclamation equal means it's not equal. So since they are actually equal to each other, we get a false out of this one, as you can see. There are a couple of other operands or couple of other operations that you should know, and these are called and or operations. So maybe you have taken some kind of basic philosophy or mathematical courses in high school, and maybe you have learned about this. So I'm taking notes over here so that you can see how it's written as well. So this is and this is or, and this sign is a pipe sign. You can do it by alt and something like question mark or the right next to it on your keyboard. You're gonna have to try it because it differs with international keyboards. However, it's there in your keyboard, okay? So this is pipe sign, and it means or, and this is and sign, and it means and. So, how do we use them? For example, if I say x is 3 and y is 4. Now, if I create a new z over here with 5, then I can compare all three of them. For example, what if I say x is less than y? Is it true? Yep, is it true, right? It's true because x is 3, y is 4 right now. It gives me true. And what if I say something like this? X is less than y. And I can also add another condition over here with and operand, and I can say y is less than z. So is y is less than z? Yep, it's less than z. And x is less than z, so it will give me true. And since I have used this and sign, it means that both sides of this and operand should be true in order to be getting true. So if either of these conditions were not true, then we wouldn't get true out of this equation. Okay, both sides should be true in order to get true. For example, let me do it this way, and you will see we will get false. Even though x is actually less than y, z is not less than y. But if I do something like this with or sign, then any of the condition should be true, and the other condition doesn't matter at all. As you can see, since x is actually less than y, I'm getting true. So even though it's not true, z is not less than y, I'm getting true because I'm using or. So either one of this is true, it's good enough for me. I'm gonna get true. So this is the basic difference between and or. In the and operand, you should have both sides true. In the or operand, either one of these sides is very good for us. So let's stop here and continue with the next one.